Hi, I'm Jonathan Clogstoun-Willmott, and today I'm going to tell you about my book, Yin Deficiency. What is it about Yin Deficiency that makes it one of the most visited pages on my website, acupuncture-points.org? Well, I'll tell you. It's because burnout and exhaustion are for many of us a major problem. We go through various stages in our lives, and when we get burned out and exhausted, then we don't know what to do, and we're lost, we're finished. The symptoms, well, for example, you feel that your mind is completely overactive, but you have very changeable moods, you have fears and anxieties, something approaching ADHD for some people, and then you have dryness. You have dry hair, dry eyes, dry mouth, dry mucous membranes, dry skin, and often there's weight loss as well. And then there's a feeling of stress, permanent feeling of stress, often not able to sleep properly, and if you do sleep, not very restful, not very recovering your energy from it. And what are the causes of this? Well, one of the major causes of it is disease, prolonged disease which really drains you, drags you down. Also, could be a period of high fevers, could be a period of a very exhaustive strain. Notably for many of us, it's overwork, working for too long, too often. Also, another cause is poor food habits, not eating enough of the right kind of foods, eating too many of the wrong kind of foods, so not strengthening our body to be able to keep up with the stress which we put it through. So nutrition is a big part of it. Fear is another one. Fear, these days, you might not think would be a big cause of yin deficiency, but it can add to it. And why would we be fearful these days? Well, there's everything from immigration to global warming to random crazy massacres, war, fear of war, news of war. There's plenty going on in the world to be worried about. And that adds to the anxieties, which makes us more inclined to have this situation of burnout and exhaustion, or yin deficiency. What we lack, of course, is stability in our lives, and we crazily look for it. So I've written this book, Yin Deficiency, to help people understand, and it's got various chapters in it. Chapter 2 explains what yin deficiency is. Chapter 3 takes you through Western equivalents, the kind of diseases which you might get, which have yin deficiency as part of their picture. Because yin deficiency is not really recognized in Western medicine as such, though it's a very big, important part of Chinese medicine. However, yin deficiency does turn up in all sorts of diseases, quite often, for example, with high blood pressure. It also turns up in various stages of life. For example, the menopause. Many women have a situation when very often they have some signs of yin deficiency at that stage of their life. Chapter 4, I talk about various causes. I've mentioned a few already. Chapter 5 explains the mental conditions. I've only mentioned a few of them already, but there are plenty of other mental conditions which come out when you have yin deficiency. Chapter 6 looks at the physical symptoms, what you might feel. Now, again, I've mentioned a few, but there are far, far more. Chapter 7 looks at the stages of life which might, for example, lead to situations of yin deficiency. I mentioned one before, menopause, for example. Chapter 8, finally, we get on to treating it. How do you treat yin deficiency? What do you do? Now, some of the things in this chapter might sound a bit like common sense, and in a way they are, because common sense is what we really should be applying to ourselves. But when you're sick, you don't take very healthy decisions. In fact, you take sick decisions. And often somebody else can see what you should be doing, but you're not doing it. And so chapter 8 contains a whole lot of, well, it is common sense, really, but nevertheless, I think you'll find it useful. Chapter 9 talks about nutrition, because, of course, nutrition is a big time important thing for people who are yin deficient. You have to recover your energy somehow, and the right foods will help, and the wrong foods will make it worse or make it prolong it for longer. For example, I mentioned coffee. Coffee today, these days, is often thought to be a good thing, but if you're yin deficient, please don't drink coffee. Anyway, there's more about nutrition in that chapter. Then there's a whole appendix full of what I call food energetics, taking a wide range of foods and for each one classifying it in a way as to whether it will help you or not. And then there are some recipes as well to give you an idea of the kind of thing which perhaps will help you. And then there is a part on complications as well. So the book contains a whole lot of information which I hope you'll find very useful. It's not a long book. It's very easy. It's in fairly large type, so most of us can read it. Anyway, hope you enjoy it. If you do, please leave a note about it and say that you liked it, and that will help other people perhaps go on and buy it as well. So, I'm Jonathan Clogstoun-Willmott, and I've been talking about my book, Yin Deficiency. All the best. Thanks for listening.